Hi, Eric here. I felt the need today to address a quite big misconception about swordsmaking, especially about the materials themselves. Because what you see very often in documentations, no matter if they're talking about Japanese katanas or Viking Age swords, they always say that the core was kind of Damascus steel style. So basically, they took something like mild steel and iron and folded that together, and they always say that the soft material makes it more flexible. And this is completely wrong. I'm no historical expert, but I'm a mechanical engineer and I know how metal performs and how it can be worked and for what operations you can use it afterwards. So this conception that soft material is flexible is ludicrously wrong. It's like telling somebody the sun is circling around the earth. It's just wrong. Soft material tends to bend instead of breaking, while hard material tends to break instead of bending. And in between of that, with a certain amount of carbon, which is not directly a high hardness, but not a low hardness, there you have flexible material. This is steel mostly, 0.5 to 1.2% carbon, which is actually already quite tough. It's already quite hard, but those kinds of steel are flexible. You can read that, for example, in books like this one here, which is just for the industry, for industrial mechanics. Of course, there's not just here this stuff about materials. There's way more, like how the combustion engine works and how you can measure that and that stuff. But just stay with the materials. So over a certain amount of carbon, like for founded iron, especially if you drop it, it shatters. It's like glass. It's too hard for a blade. It would take an edge very, very good and it would hold it extremely long, but it simply breaks on the slightest impact. If you have really soft material like pure iron with next to no carbon, if you bend it, it just stays bent. There's no flexibility at all. So what you need is a steel that can be hardened. But if you harden it too much, it gets brittle again, and if you drop it, it shatters again. This is a degree of about 62 to 64 degree Rockwell. On that level of hardness, if you drop it, it shatters. So a really good hardness to get your blade flexible, if you have real steel, like mono steel for example, would be 52 to 58 degree Rockwell. And then you have something, let me show you, like this, which as you can see can be bent quite a lot. And this is all I can get right now in power from my arms, but it can be bent a lot further. I could bend it almost in a half circle and it would not break. Simply for the amount of carbon that it contains. Those has 0.65% carbon, and is tempered and heated and heat treated to 52 degree Rockwell hardness. So this is really like a spring. Destroying this blade would be extremely difficult. So a misconception about katanas and Viking Age swords is that this Damascus style core makes them more flexible, and this is not the case. It simply just prevents them from breaking by the fact that they rather bend than break. And this is, for example, where the difference to late medieval swords kicks in. Late medieval swords were actually quite flexible, but if the impact was really too much, they would break because they are made of just one piece of steel, and this is all over the place, heated to the same degree of hardness. So that is basically the reason why a late medieval European blade would break and a Japanese blade would not break, because the Japanese blade would simply bend, and a bent sword is something you can fix. You can just heat it up a bit and forge it out to original shape, and that's it. But a broken sword is beyond repair. So that is, of course, an advantage of samurai swords and Viking Age swords. But point is, they are not flexible. They bend. So basically, that's it. Hope this was informative for you. Here it's raining, but hope you have better weather and a better day. Cheers, and to the next video.